When I look at this next talk that's coming up, I'm grateful that we're largely using escalators today to get up and down outside and not all piling straight back into a lift to get out of the building, because that might be something that you think about twice after this talk. So please make Adam feel welcome.
This is going to be an interesting talk, and I'm sorry if I call out your hotel or anywhere else, and good luck ever being in an elevator with me again. Quick heads up. Please no crimes after this. I wish I didn't have to say this, but yeah, I don't trust some of you sus people. And yeah, it's not worth endangering people's lives. Please don't die. Quick, who am I? This is me. I don't know what I'm known for anymore. Some people say stickers. Some people say I taught them how to lockpick once. This is my thought leader photo. I hate it. This nerd did it. Okay, so I'm going to go real basic on the first part. What is an elevator? You go up, and sometimes you go down. And fun story, there is a side-to-side elevator and one that goes on an angle. I'm not covering those in this talk, outside of subject. But you press a button, and you go to a certain floor. But the part we're talking about today is those little readers that sit there. Sometimes you have to tap a card to get in. And yeah, that blocks you from going up, right? And people use that as an access control. The whole issue here comes down to people using this in shared tenancy environments. Let's say you go to a building and your floor is secure because you have to tap a card on there to get up. What we're going to talk about today is how to bypass that control and stop that if you can, asterisk, long story. So yeah, I'm not the first to talk about this. There's some great talks that have been done by other people on this. Deviant in the US, this is the most popular talk. I'm pretty sure it's still like number 5 or something on the DEF CON YouTube channel. It's from 10 years ago, and it's very true to all of this, but just very North American based, not Australian. So I'm going to try and recap the stuff that actually matters here and focus on Australia a bit more. TLDR, you get a couple of switches like this, and if you know me well, you've probably been in an elevator with me, sitting there trying to take a photo. It sucks. You've got your fire mode, which is the really cool one. You get your lights and such, and you get independent mode, which sometimes can bypass stuff, but fire mode is the cool stuff. Fire mode lets you go to any floor you want, because firefighters matter more than people dying a lot of the time. And I'm going to put a big asterisk here because I've had too many people recently who've reached out after learning about these keys. Don't just assume that you can insert one and it'll work. The amount of people who have bricked elevators called me up later and be like, how do I unbrick it, please? Don't just do this directly after. Don't go and buy some. Especially if you go onto websites like elevatorkeys.com. These are all American keys. They're freedom. They don't work in our non-freedom lifts. So if I get another person who comes in spending $200 on a bunch of keys and complaining to me that it doesn't work, this is your one warning. If I get another message about this, I'm just going to link you to this presentation. So you want these keys, right? That's why you're at this talk. You're here to do cool things. I'm going to help you figure out how I figured out these keys. And I'm going to show you the cool methods that I did for it. First off, we have my advanced investigation techniques, key duplication, and some secret sauce. So my advanced investigation techniques is sitting there in an elevator every single time I've ever been in one and taking a photo. I have 30 minutes for this and I have 54 slides. I'm not going to let this keep playing because this keeps going and I went a lot faster at the end. And I noticed a couple of weird things at the start. The first one was this. I saw these numbers. And it made no sense to me. And I looked like this. I was sitting there trying to figure out what the heck it means. So I started doing my advanced investigation of calling people. According to all the vendors, they said, no, we're not going to tell you because it's per property. We secure our vendors. I called up electrical technicians. They went, oh yeah, mate. Here's the keys. Good luck. Turns out your third-party vendors aren't, security vendors. Who would have guessed? So So yeah, here's the first piece of information for you. If you see a number with the one or two digits at it, and it has a T at the front, this is called the TOC series. Locksmiths use this, when I refer to a series, as a collection of keys in their system. In this case, this is a TOC 5, I believe. I can't make it out from this far away, and a TOC 10. These both are on what's called the YA17 blank. It's a non-restricted blank. You can buy them for $1.10 from a locksmith supplier. And if you go to a locksmith, enjoy paying $10 for that. And now that we have some cool information we know about TOC, let's use our advanced interrogation techniques. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time to all of the universities I dox here. This is public. It's on your thing. And I'm sorry, universities. And to my New Zealand brethren, these are from your official standards of what keys to use. This happens a lot in some countries. In Australia, we'll get down to do you need to do this or not later on. But we're going to look at some more advanced methods. Welcome to key duplication. And keys. They're interesting. You shove them in. I hate this GIF because it's so perfect. And it matches to the top of a key, and when you pull it out, it doesn't. That's how keys turn. Which means that if you look at a key, and you can get a photo of it, you can get what's called the bitting. That is the information that says, on this key, this is the depth, and it will allow you to turn and open it. And this is not advanced. Some applications will give this very easily to you. If you can take a photo of it as well, sometimes you can get other information like blind codes or direct codes, which are the bitting written down, referenced on a locksmith system, or the actual bitting of the key just printed on it. And if you want to go real special, say hello to heliduplication or optical decoding, where you can get a very long-range camera and take a photo of a key from really far away. So for anyone who wants to do that, here's the keys, 3, 2, 1, get scammed. The longest I've ever seen is 1.5 kilometers. That person used an actual astronomy telescope to take that photo. On average, you can do like 150 meters with a 1,000mm lens. You're going to spend $1,000 on that one. And with an iPhone, you can do about 2 to 5 meters. iPhones have really nice cameras for this for some reason. So if you want to reverse a key, here's what you need. You get a photo of the key. This is from a locksmith supplier who told me, this is a secure key, we can't tell you the information about it. They put a photo on their website. You find the key blank. Luckily, they told me what the key blank was. It was a YA17. You search it up, and it tells you all the information about it. You find a reference surface to measure. Fun note, all keys have the exact same distance on the far end of that key. And then finally, you lay it out on an SVG, and you can figure out roughly what that key is. So if you look here, this beautiful diagram done in Inkscape, you can tell design is my passion. We can roughly figure out that there's a 2 cut there, a 3 cut there, a 2 cut there again, a 4 cut there, and then, a 1 cut. And that's our bidding. Simple as that. I did this with free open source tools. It's great. But you can be better than that. Hello, Snap Decoder. This is sold to locksmiths. You take a photo of a key and it will tell you the bidding. If you actually want to do this properly for like a job, get some grid paper, slap the key on there. It makes your life so much easier if you can't find it in software like this and you have to do it via Inkscape. But I know, you have to get that key afterwards. And convincing a locksmith to do it for you is very hard. Some of your threats probably can. And you wouldn't just own a key cutting machine, right? They're like 20K. I mean, unless you go on eBay. If you're in the locksmith community in 2018 and own this exact key cutting machine, you're one of a select few. Bunnings sold all of theirs for $20. I might have bought more than one after this screenshot, but we don't talk about that. But now we get into how do you get elevator keys. I found a spare parts site. And they had these beautiful photos with this wonderful ruler sitting there. The only problem was it was 384 by 256 for resolution on all of these images. But if you squint just hard enough, you can kind of make out that it's a small, and a large, and a small. And that might be just enough, sometimes. We'll get back to that. And if you want to figure out the exact dimensions of a key, you sit there in an elevator with your calipers, go for it. But we're going to come back to this, because it's going to be real fun. And that spare parts site that I offhandedly mentioned, yes, I did exactly this with every single key and every single lock they have in their collection. This keeps going. Now we get to our super secret stuff. This is the special sauce I was talking about. We're talking about really interesting stuff. Stuff that only like advanced alien robots in movies would do. eBay. I watched Transformers like 3 days ago and this just got stuck in my brain. So, I wanted this lock, I went to eBay and I bought it. You can buy locks on eBay, who would have guessed? And guess what they come with? The keys. Now, this is where it gets real funny. If you are in lock sport, you know about how many pins are in a lock. If you have 5 pins in a lock, it's kind of insecure. I bought this one, I looked at it and went, this key looks weird. Two pins. Anyway, I kept going through and I found another variant and wow, look at that. That's all the pins. And we already have the key for the other version of it. Whack it in Inkscape, figure it out. Pretty straightforward. And there's hundreds of these. And, you know, eBay is not the only online marketplace. So remember this key. Yeah, there it is. I've saved you the pain of spending $46, and I will tell you exactly what it is. And yes, I bought a lot of keys. Please stop funding my terrible research habits. Research. And we're going to talk about measured risk now. You know, this is fun and cool, and you know, it's only niche, weird people who, like me, who collect keys, right? Why do we care? Well, the thing is, these are all commonly keyed to every elevator vendor. Every building owner has the same key. Every emergency service worker has the same key. Every nerd like me who spends so much money on eBay has the same key. And Eshays. Why am I saying Eshays? I love TikTok. I don't use the app, but the amount of people on TikTok who have started using elevators to get onto roofs, go into cool places, into that Urbex place, and I'm not calling out anyone in particular in the front row. And this happens a lot. I took this photo months ago because so many got deleted. But my favorite part was they'll be like, yeah, this is the exact key that I used to get into this building. And I just sat there and went, thank you, I now have that key. So this is where we get to the fun stuff. And as a warning, you know, legal liability, how do I not get charged with an offense? There is actually a risk here if you get stuck in an elevator, if you hurt someone in an elevator. You don't want to do that. But your threat actors already have these keys. They have them. If they want them, they can buy them. And there are Eshays on TikTok already doing this. So I kind of need to show that this is available, or else people won't understand why this is a risk, or even that their keys are the same as every other person in the building. With that note, here are the numbered barrels. 305 and 6160, 9041 and 122. These are all the information for it, TOC 5 and TOC 22. I had to call a locksmith in Victoria, who was the only person who made this lock. He told me, I didn't put it on Instacode because Instacode didn't exist when this lock was made, nor did every other key system in the world, so I just forgot. These are the weird ones from the UK that came in the 90s, the 6160 and 9041. He told me these biddings over the phone, and then I went to my locksmith, asked, hey, can I use your key cutting machine? Yeah, sure, mate. Some dude walked in with the exact same key and went, oh yeah, can I get a copy of this key? And I looked at him and went, oh, good, I got the right key. These ones are weird. I can't find the blank. I think it's manufactured out of some random place. But a modified ST4 where you just file down the top will work. Those are the cuts you need to make. There's only 2 of them. And to be honest, it's probably faster just to pick the lock. It's 2 pins. This is the cone new style. You've probably seen these around. These are popping up everywhere. yeah, just buy them off AliExpress. I'm not going to try and measure those dimples. They're not fun to measure. And I'm going to try and just cover recommendations. Replace the switches. You don't need to. Legally, according to both the DFES and the Victoria Fire Service, they do not need to have a set key for your building. You're allowed to have your own custom one. All you have to do is supply them with the key, or have someone 24/7 on site ready to enter, which if you have security, you have already done that. Big buildings know this. You're just recommending. And as a note, I'm not your GRC consultant. You don't pay me enough for that. And here's the other thing. Lift providers allow you to output the state of these elevators. So you can tell when a fire mode is enabled or when an independent mode is enabled and log that as an alarm. You can input that directly into your SIEM. And here's a QR code that will tell you all of the elevators that are vulnerable and the keys associated. I'm going to leave this up for a few seconds so people can take photos. But yeah, I'm speeding through this talk. It's 54 slides, and I'm going to try and just let people give some questions before I get kicked out. And I'll leave all of these biddings and keys there. Yeah.
Round of applause for Adam. Thank you. Cheers.
Perfect. Any questions, people? Yep.
Asking for a friend, how often do the elevator fire keys actually, like the locks for them, actually go somewhere? You know?
So just repeating the question, how often do the logs, LOGS, from the fire key alert bits that you mentioned there at the end actually go somewhere to be monitored?
I've seen 2 facilities that have ever done it, and both of them are places I'm not allowed to discuss.
Makes sense.
Yep.
So just repeating the question, has he had a look at the elevators in this building?
No, but the escalators are the same keys I showed already.
Awesome.
Yep.
What made you want to start looking at elevators out of all things?
I was a young person in uni, and I saw a talk at DEF CON. And then I went, wait a minute, this key doesn't work in Australia. And that is the entire story.
Do you have an Otis lanyard after watching the DEF CON talk?
No. I just rock up in a polo or a high-vis vest and no one questions it.
How many times have you locked yourself into an elevator?
None yet. None yet, but I've had enough people message me with that exact problem. Yep. 3D printing keys is a great way to use a key once and then find out how hard it is to remove a key out of a lock. Sweet.
Awesome. Everyone, give it up for Adam.
Wait, there's one more.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, only if there's a technical glitch on the live stream. I'm joking. Most of the time it depends on the vendor. There's 2 variants. There's a version where it has a start version. That's referred to as, this is when you're in the elevator as a note. If you do it on the ground floor, it's going to trigger what's called phase 1, and that's where all the elevators come back down to your floor. And that's a fun way to get building owners unhappy with you. So once you're in the elevator, you have a lock, and it will go from on to start, off to start to on. Or you'll have one that just goes from off to on. If you have the on to start one, you go on, move it to start, and then move it all the way across. And then you go up and down. In the other version, you have to go in, turn it back to start, and then back to off once you're done. I'm not going to tell you how to go up and down in the elevators because that's just holding the buttons. And then in the version where you have to turn it on and off, you have to go back to the ground floor and hold it in the off position for like 5 seconds half the time. But it depends on vendors still. There's some nuances. Sweet.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam. Cheers.